The Culinary Caper in Javea. Act 1. The Culinary Showdown. The sun hung low over the Mediterranean horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the coastal town of Javea, Spain. Nestled between the azure waters and the rolling hills, Javea was a place of serenity and beauty. But today, a buzz of excitement filled the air as preparations were underway for the prestigious Taste of Javea cooking competition. In her cozy kitchen, Angelica Boyle, a perceptive amateur detective known for her quick wit and unyielding determination, stood by the window, gazing out at the picturesque town. Her thoughts swirled as she contemplated a new adventure, one that had little to do with crime-solving and everything to do with her passion for food. Angelica had always been a talented home cook, creating dishes that were nothing short of culinary masterpieces. Her family and friends were her biggest fans, and she often found herself experimenting with flavors and techniques late into the night. But now, an idea had taken root in her mind, an idea that stirred her curiosity and challenged her skills. As she stirred a bubbling pot of tomato sauce, her son Tommy entered the kitchen, his school backpack slung over one shoulder.
"Mom, something smells amazing in here."
Tommy exclaimed, his eyes lighting up as the aroma of the simmering sauce filled his nostrils. Angelica smiled at her son, her apron splattered with sauce.
"Well, Tommy, I'm working on something special today. Sit down, and let's talk."
Curiosity piqued, Tommy settled into a chair at the kitchen table.
"What's going on, Mom? You look like you're planning a grand feast."
Angelica chuckled and wiped her hands on a kitchen towel.
"In a way, I am, Tommy. I've been thinking about entering the Taste of Javea cooking competition."
Tommy's eyes widened with surprise.
"Really? That's incredible, Mom. You'd totally win. Your cooking is the best."
Angelica appreciated her son's enthusiasm.
"Thank you, sweetheart. It's a prestigious competition, and I'd love to showcase my culinary talents. Plus, it might be a fun change of pace from my usual work."
Tommy leaned forward, intrigued.
"So, what's the plan? What will you cook?"
Angelica's eyes sparkled with excitement.
"I'm thinking of preparing my signature dish, an English twist on paella. It's a classic Spanish favorite, and I believe my version is something truly special."
Tommy nodded approvingly.
"Paella sounds amazing, Mom. You've got this."
With her son's encouragement, Angelica felt a surge of determination. She had made up her mind. She would enter the Taste of Javea competition and let her culinary talents shine. Weeks passed, and the Taste of Javea competition was just around the corner. Angelica Boyle had been hard at work perfecting her paella recipe, adding her own unique twists and flavors to make it stand out. In the evenings, after her photography work and Tommy's school activities, she would retreat to her kitchen, experimenting with ingredients and techniques. The day of the competition finally arrived, and the town square of Javea buzzed with anticipation. Chefs and food enthusiasts from all over the town gathered to witness the culinary showdown. Booths adorned with colorful decorations and mouth-watering dishes lined the square, each competing for the coveted title of Javea's top chef. Angelica stood beside her own booth, a flutter of nerves and excitement in her stomach. Her paella simmered in a large pan, filling the air with the tantalizing scent of saffron and spices. Her booth displayed a small sign that read, "Angelica's Paella Delight." The competition had attracted not only local talent but also esteemed judges from the culinary world. Among them was Chef Ramon Morales, a renowned local chef whose restaurant, Morales Establishment, had earned acclaim not only in Javea but across Spain. With his salt and pepper hair and an air of authority, he commanded respect in the culinary community. As Angelica gazed at Chef Morales, a sense of admiration and intimidation washed over her. She couldn't help but feel that impressing a chef of his caliber would be no small feat. The event organizer, Eduardo Fernandez, took to the stage to address the crowd.
"Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Taste of Javea competition. Today, we have gathered some of the finest chefs in our town to showcase their culinary expertise. Our esteemed judges, including Chef Ramon Morales, will have the difficult task of selecting the winner."
The crowd applauded, and the competition officially began. Angelica, along with her fellow competitors, worked diligently, preparing their dishes and presenting them to the judges. As the aroma of various delicacies wafted through the air, the square transformed into a delightful feast for the senses. Angelica couldn't help but feel a mix of nervousness and exhilaration as she presented her paella to the judges. Chef Morales took a small bite, his discerning palate at work. Angelica held her breath, awaiting his verdict. The judge's expression remained stoic, but then a subtle smile tugged at the corners of his lips.
Remarkable.
He said, his voice carrying across the square.
A truly exceptional paella.
Angelica let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. She had earned the approval of Chef Ramon Morales, a validation of her culinary skills. As the Taste of Javea competition progressed, tensions among the competitors ran higher than a simmering sauce. Angelica Boyle, buoyed by Chef Ramon Morales' praise for her paella, was determined to make her mark. Yet, she couldn't ignore the skill and passion of her fellow chefs, especially Sofia Diaz, a formidable sous chef from an up-and-coming local restaurant. Sofia Diaz, a tall and confident woman with a flair for creating exquisite dishes, had been making waves in Javea's culinary scene. Her booth, adorned with vibrant colors and a sign that read, Sofia's Flavorful Creations, attracted a steady stream of eager food enthusiasts. One sunny afternoon, as Angelica prepared her station for the next round of judging, Sofia approached her booth with a warm smile.
Angelica, your paella is truly exceptional.
Sofia complimented, her voice carrying a genuine note of admiration. Angelica, who had been arranging saffron threads as garnish, looked up, surprised but pleased by Sofia's kind words.
Thank you, Sophia. Your dishes are equally impressive. I've heard great things about your culinary talents.
Sophia's eyes sparkled with a competitive spirit, but there was also a friendly twinkle.
It's going to be quite a challenge for the judges to decide. I'm looking forward to seeing how this competition unfolds.
Angelica nodded, appreciating Sophia's sportsmanship.
Absolutely. The competition is fierce, but it's also a wonderful opportunity to learn from each other and showcase the best of our town's culinary talent.
Sophia's smile broadened.
You're right, Angelica. May the best chef win.
As the days passed, Angelica and Sophia's friendly rivalry continued. They exchanged cooking tips and shared stories of their culinary inspirations. Their booths, located side by side, became popular spots in the competition, with attendees eagerly sampling both Angelica's paella and Sophia's creative creations. While the two chefs remained competitive, they also formed a bond built on mutual respect and a shared love for cooking. Little did they know that their camaraderie would become an essential ingredient in solving the culinary mystery that loomed on the horizon. During the first day of the Taste of Javea competition, Angelica Boyle showcased her culinary prowess with a flair that caught the judges' attention. Her booth, adorned with a small British flag next to the Spanish one, hinted at the unique fusion of flavors she had in store. Angelica knew that her British-inspired dishes might raise eyebrows in Spain, but she was determined to surprise and delight the judges. The aroma of her dishes wafted through the square, drawing curious onlookers to her booth. Angelica's first creation was a delicate plate of English garden tea cakes, a delightful mix of savory and sweet pastries that showcased her mastery of baking. As the judges sampled her tea cakes, a hushed murmuring spread through the crowd. The fusion of British and Spanish flavors was a surprising success. The tea cakes featured Spanish ingredients like serrano ham and manchego cheese, expertly blended with the British tradition of scones and clotted cream. Judge Elena Fernandez, a respected food critic, savored a bite and raised an impressed eyebrow.
An intriguing blend of flavors, Angelica. You've managed to marry the best of both worlds.
Angelica couldn't help but smile at the positive feedback. She knew that introducing a touch of British influence in a Spanish culinary competition was a gamble, but it seemed to be paying off. For her second creation, Angelica presented a dish she called Andalusian Garden Eaten Mess. This dessert featured the vibrant colors and flavors of Andalusian oranges and strawberries, elegantly presented atop a bed of crushed meringue and drizzled with a sherry reduction. Chef Ramon Morales, who had initially raised an eyebrow at the British influence, now took a bite of the eaten mess. His expression softened, and he nodded in approval.
A creative and harmonious blend of flavors, Angelica. You've certainly brought a fresh perspective to our competition.
As the day continued, Angelica's booth became a popular destination for attendees eager to experience her innovative take on culinary fusion. Her unique dishes, though unconventional in the Spanish culinary scene, garnered attention and admiration. Word of her British-inspired creations spread through the square, sparking discussions among the attendees and fellow competitors. Some were intrigued by her bold approach, while others questioned whether such a fusion could truly be considered Spanish cuisine. Angelica's journey in the Taste of Javea competition had only just begun, but she had already made a mark with her distinctive dishes. Little did she know that her culinary talents would soon be put to the test in a much more unexpected and challenging way. Act 2. A Mysterious Death. As the sun dipped below the horizon on the evening of the competition's second day, the bustling atmosphere of the Taste of Javea competition began to mellow. Booths were being tidied up, and competitors were making plans for the next day. Angelica Boyle, still basking in the success of her unique dishes, was contemplating her next culinary creation when a hushed murmur swept through the square. News traveled swiftly among the participants and attendees, and the initial shock was palpable. Chef Ramon Morales, the renowned local chef and one of the competition's judges, had been found dead in the competition's kitchen under mysterious circumstances. Angelica, along with the other competitors, rushed to the scene. The normally bustling kitchen had fallen into an eerie silence as police officers and investigators gathered evidence. Chef Morales lay on the floor, a look of shock frozen on his face. Detective Harvey Jones, the lead investigator, stood at the entrance of the kitchen, his expression grim. He glanced around at the assembled chefs and competitors.
Ladies and gentlemen, please step back. We are conducting an investigation.
Angelica's heart sank as she watched the investigators work. The circumstances surrounding Chef Morales' death were unclear, but the air was thick with tension and uncertainty. One of the competitors who had a stand next to Angelica in the competition, stood beside her, his face pale.
This is terrible. What does you think happened?
Angelica tried to mask her own unease as she glanced at him.
I don't know, but we need to let the investigators do their job. It's a tragic situation.
As the investigation unfolded, it became apparent that Chef Morales' death was far from ordinary. There were no visible signs of struggle or violence, and the kitchen appeared undisturbed. Yet, the circumstances surrounding his demise were shrouded in mystery. Chef Sofia Diaz, who had become a friendly rival and a fellow competitor, approached Angelica, her eyes wide with shock.
This is unbelievable, Angelica. Chef Morales was a respected figure in our culinary world. How could this happen?
Angelica nodded, her thoughts racing.
I don't know, Sophia, but I have a feeling there's more to this than meets the eye. We need to find out what happened.
The discovery of Chef Morales' death cast a shadow over the Taste of Javea competition, transforming it from a celebration of culinary talent into a perplexing mystery that would test Angelica's skills as an amateur detective in a way she could never have anticipated. Detective Harvey Jones, a seasoned investigator known for his sharp instincts and unwavering dedication to his cases, took charge of the scene in the competition's kitchen. He carefully observed the surroundings, his keen eyes scanning for any clues that might shed light on the mystery surrounding Chef Ramon Morales' untimely demise. As Detective Jones examined the area, Angelica Boyle watched, her thoughts filled with a growing sense of unease. She couldn't help but wonder about the circumstances leading to the chef's death. Could it truly be an accident, as it appeared at first glance? Or were there hidden layers to this culinary tragedy? Detective Jones approached the gathered competitors and chefs, his expression somber.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand the shock and confusion surrounding Chef Morales' death. We are treating this as a serious matter, but as of now, it appears to be an unfortunate accident.
A murmur of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Angelica eyed Sofia Diaz, the sous chef and fellow competitor, and saw that her body was filled with concern. Harvey Jones continued.
We have found no evidence of foul play or any indication of a struggle. We will, of course, conduct a thorough investigation to determine the exact cause of death.
As the investigators continued their work, Angelica couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this tragedy than met the eye. She exchanged a glance with Sophia, and they both knew that they couldn't simply accept the initial assessment of Chef Morales' death. Later that evening, as Angelica returned to her apartment in Javea, she found Tommy waiting anxiously. He looked up at her with a worried expression.
Ma'am, do you think you will win the competition?
Angelica sighed, her thoughts still consumed by the mysterious circumstances.
I'm not so sure there will be a competition, Tommy.
Tommy looked confused. Angelica gave her son a determined smile.
We start by asking questions, investigating, and paying close attention to the details. The culinary world may be a place of delicious creations, but it can also hide its fair share of secrets.
He had no idea what she was talking about. The decision was made the next day that the competition would still go on. As the Taste of Javea competition continued under the cloud of Chef Ramon Morales' unexplained death, Angelica Boyle couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there was more to the story than initially met the eye. Detective Harvey Jones and his team seemed convinced that the beloved chef's demise was an unfortunate accident, but Angelica had begun to notice details that raised doubts in her mind. Angelica realized a series of troubling inconsistencies. She jotted them in her notebook and read it back. 1. The chef's discomfort. She recalled how, earlier in the competition, Chef Morales had appeared unusually uneasy. She had spotted him discreetly discarding a plate of food that was part of the judging process. At the time, she thought nothing of it, but in hindsight, it seemed suspicious. 2. The mysterious ingredient. Angelica had glanced at the discarded plate, noting a particular ingredient that stood out, a vivid red pepper. It was not a common ingredient in the competition, and it struck her as odd that it was so red, almost luminescent. 3. A taste of bitterness. Later, she recalled the moment when Chef Morales had tasted her paella and complimented it. However, the moment he took a bite, his expression had changed subtly, as though he had detected something unexpected in the dish. 4. Sudden illness. Shortly after that interaction, Chef Morales had excused himself, complaining of feeling unwell. He had rushed to the restroom, and moments later, news of his death had shocked everyone. These details, though seemingly insignificant on their own, began to form a troubling pattern in Angelica's mind. The presence of the unusual red pepper, the chef's discomfort, and the sudden change in his demeanor all hinted at something amiss. She couldn't help but suspect that Chef Morales might have been poisoned. With these thoughts swirling in her mind, Angelica decided to take matters into her own hands. That evening, she confided in Sophia over WhatsApp about her suspicions, emphasizing the importance of keeping their inquiry a secret. During the night, Angelica had a recurring dream. One that had links to reality. Both in her dream and in reality, Chef Morales, prior to his untimely death, had been using a small notebook to jot down notes and thoughts during the competition. It had become somewhat of a culinary diary for him, detailing the progress of the event and the dishes presented by the contestants. In her dream, the diary contained a lifelike sketch of the killer, but the image blurred every time she opened the page. It obscured the true identity. In the real world, Angelica suspected that the diary might give up some clues as to what happened to the notable chef. Angelica got up early. She had work to do before Tommy had even thought about getting out of bed. Being an open-air competition, the Taste of Javea contest allowed pretty much unfettered access to all areas, even when there was a police investigation on. Angelica hoped beyond hope that the diary was still there. She was in luck. At the scene of the contest, seizing an opportune moment when the kitchen was relatively empty, Angelica discreetly approached Chef Morales' station, where the notebook lay unattended. She carefully pocketed the notebook, ensuring that no one had seen her actions. Later, in the quiet confines of her rented apartment, Angelica carefully opened the notebook and began to read Chef Morales' handwritten notes. What she discovered sent a chill down her spine. Chef Morales had been investigating a scandal involving restaurant sabotage in Javea. His notes detailed a series of incidents where restaurants had suffered unexplained setbacks, from spoiled ingredients to mysterious kitchen fires. Morales suspected that these events were not accidents but acts of sabotage aimed at crippling the town's culinary establishments. One particular name stood out in his notes: Eduardo Fernandez, the event organizer and owner of a prominent Javea restaurant. Chef Morales had gathered evidence suggesting that Fernandez might be involved in the sabotage, possibly to eliminate competition and secure his restaurant's dominance in the town's culinary scene. As Angelica read through the damning evidence, she couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency. It seemed that Chef Morales had been on the brink of uncovering the truth about the restaurant's sabotage in Javea. His death appeared increasingly suspicious, and Angelica was more determined than ever to expose the culprits responsible. With the notebook safely concealed, Angelica knew that she held the key to unraveling the mystery. She also realized that she needed assistance in navigating the complex web of culinary secrets and rivalries that now surrounded the taste of Javea competition. Act 3. Uncovering Culinary Secrets. The sun cast long shadows across the cobbled streets of Javea as Angelica Boyle met with Sofia Diaz, her fellow competitor and trusted friend, in a quiet corner of the town square. The air was filled with the mingling sense of Mediterranean cuisine, but their minds were focused on a darker, hidden world of culinary secrets.
Thank you for meeting me, Sophia.
Angelica began, her tone earnest.
I have something important to share with you, something I believe is related to Chef Morales' death.
Sophia regarded Angelica with a mixture of curiosity and concern.
Angelica, you've piqued my interest. What have you discovered?
Angelica took a deep breath and reached into her bag, retrieving the small notebook she had taken from Chef Morales' station. She opened it to the page containing his notes on the restaurant's sabotage scandal.
Sophia, Chef Morales had been investigating a series of incidents involving restaurant sabotage in Javea.
Angelica explained, her eyes fixed on the notes.
He believed that someone was deliberately trying to harm the town's culinary establishments to eliminate competition.
Sophia's eyes widened as she scanned the notes.
This is quite serious, Angelica. But what does it have to do with his death?
Angelica hesitated, then continued.
I believe that Chef Morales was on the verge of uncovering the truth behind the sabotage when he died. He suspected that Eduardo Fernandez might be involved.
Sophia frowned, her brows furrowing in thought.
Eduardo Fernandez. But is respected in our culinary community. It's hard to believe he'd be connected to something like this.
Angelica nodded, understanding Sophia's uncertainty.
I had the same doubts, but the evidence Chef Morales had gathered suggests otherwise. I think we need to investigate further, discreetly, and find out if Fernandez and others are indeed behind the sabotage and, potentially, Chef Morales' death.
Sophia considered the gravity of the situation and then met Angelica's determined gaze.
All right, Angelica. I mean, we need to get to the bottom of this, not just for Chef Morales but for the sake of our culinary community and Javea's reputation.
A sense of relief washed over Angelica as she realized that she and Sophia were now united in their quest for the truth. Two skilled chefs with a passion for uncovering secrets, they made an unlikely but formidable team. Angelica Boyle and Sofia Diaz dove headfirst into the competitive world of Javea's culinary scene, determined to unearth the truth behind the restaurant's sabotage scandal and Chef Ramon Morales' mysterious death. As skilled chefs and amateur detectives, they knew that unraveling the complex web of rivalries and vendettas would be no easy task. They knew this would be a long and heavy day of asking questions, uncovering truths, and getting under the skin of the professional restaurant trade. Their investigation began with discreet conversations and observations within the bustling culinary community of Javea. The vibrant town was home to a diverse array of restaurants, each with its own specialties and loyal clienteles. From seafood taverns perched along the coastline to charming tapas bars hidden in narrow streets, the town's culinary landscape was a treasure trove of flavors and secrets. Angelica and Sophia started by approaching fellow chefs and restaurant owners, posing as curious competitors interested in learning more about the local culinary scene. They soon discovered that beneath the mask of camaraderie and mutual respect lay a labyrinth of rivalries and long-held grudges. In hushed conversations and whispered confessions, chefs and restaurateurs revealed tales of cutthroat competition, secret ingredients, and hidden vendettas. It seemed that the world of Javea's restaurants was not just a realm of delicious creations but also a battleground of egos and ambitions. One evening, While sipping glasses of local wine at a charming bodega, Angelica and Sophia heard a particularly intriguing story. Juan Carlos, a chef with a reputation for innovation, divulged a long-standing feud with another renowned chef, Carmen Fernandez, Eduardo Fernandez's sister.
Juan Carlos, tell us more about this feud.
Sophia probed, her tone casual. Juan Carlos leaned in, his voice lowered.
It all started years ago when Carmen and I were both rising stars in the culinary world. We were competing for the top spot in Javea's culinary scene, and our rivalry turned fierce. But there was more to it than just professional competition.
Angelica raised an eyebrow.
What do you mean, more than competition?
Juan Carlos sighed.
Carmen was convinced that he had stolen a prized family recipe from her restaurant, a secret sauce that had been in the Fernandez family for generations. She accused me of using it in my dishes and tarnishing her family's legacy.
Sophia exchanged a meaningful glance with Angelica. The mention of a secret sauce and a stolen recipe was a tantalizing clue that resonated with Chef Morales' notes. It appeared that the secret ingredients at the heart of the restaurant's sabotage scandal might be tied to long-standing rivalries among the town's chefs. As Angelica Boyle and Sofia Diaz delved deeper into the tangled web of Javia's culinary scene, they began to uncover a series of clues that pointed in intriguing directions. The shadows cast by rivalries and vendettas grew longer, and the list of potential suspects in the restaurant's sabotage scandal expanded. One of the first clues that caught their attention was related to a talented pastry chef named Isabella Martinez. Isabella had a reputation for creating delectable desserts that were sought after in Javea. However, rumors whispered in the kitchen suggested that her rise to culinary stardom had been marred by a troubled past. Isabella had been involved in a scandal at a previous restaurant where she had worked. She was accused of tampering with a fellow chef's dishes, causing a food poisoning incident that had led to the restaurant's temporary closure. While she had managed to rebuild her career in Javea, the incident continued to haunt her. Angelica and Sophia discreetly approached Isabella, curious about her side of the story. Over coffee at a quaint cafe, Isabella confided in them, her voice tinged with regret.
Yes, it's true that I made a mistake in my past. But I worked hard to prove myself in Javea, and I left that scandal behind.
Sophia nodded sympathetically.
We understand, Isabella. But we've been investigating some incidents related to restaurant sabotage in town. Could you tell us if you've faced any personal or professional challenges recently?
Isabella hesitated but then shared her concerns.
Lately, I've noticed some ingredients in my kitchen going missing, and my recipes mysteriously altered. It's as though someone is trying to undermine me.
Angelica and Sophia exchanged knowing glances. The pattern of sabotage and tampering with ingredients aligned with the restaurant's sabotage scandal they were unraveling. They thanked Isabella for her honesty and assured her they would look into the matter. Another lead pointed to a sous chef named Antonio Ramirez, who had long aspired to become the head chef at Chef Morales' restaurant. Antonio had been driven by ambition and had competed fervently in the Taste of Javea competition, hoping to catch the attention of his mentor. However, whispers in the culinary community suggested that Antonio's ambition had taken a darker turn. He had been overheard expressing frustration at being overlooked for promotion and harboring resentment towards other chefs in the competition who had achieved success. Angelica and Sophia decided to discreetly approach Antonio, who met them at a secluded spot overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. He appeared tense but willing to talk.
Antonio, we've heard about your aspirations and your dedication to Chef Morales' restaurant.
Angelica began, her tone gentle.
But have you faced any challenges or conflicts that might have driven you to seek an edge in the competition?
Antonio hesitated for a moment, then admitted.
Yes, it's true. I've wanted to prove myself for so long, and I felt like I was being held back. But I would never resort to sabotage. That's not who I am.
Sophia nodded understandingly.
We appreciate your honesty, Antonio. We're trying to uncover the truth behind the incidents in the culinary community. If you have any information or if you've noticed anything unusual, please let us know.
With a growing list of potential suspects and a web of rivalries and vendettas surrounding Javea's culinary scene, Angelica Boyle and Sophia Diaz faced the daunting task of deciphering the cryptic notes and recipe book left behind by Chef Ramon Morales. The notebook had become a crucial piece of evidence in their quest to unravel the truth behind the restaurant's sabotage scandal and Morales' mysterious death. That evening, as they sat in Angelica's rented apartment, they carefully spread out the notebook's pages on the dining table. The flickering candlelight cast elongated shadows across the room, creating an atmosphere of secrecy and intrigue. Sophia squinted at the handwritten notes.
Chef Morales' writing is quite cryptic. It's like he was trying to protect the information he had.
Angelica nodded in agreement.
Yes, it appears that way. But we have to decipher these clues if we want to uncover the truth. Let's start with the most recent entries, the ones related to the restaurant sabotage.
They began to pore over the notes, focusing on the mentions of suspicious incidents and secret ingredients. Angelica had an idea that Morales might have used code or disguised his observations to protect his sources. As they read through the entries, a pattern began to emerge. Certain phrases and ingredients were consistently associated with the incidents of sabotage. One phrase, in particular, caught their attention: the crimson spice.
What do you think the crimson spice means?
Sophia wondered aloud, her finger tracing the words in the notebook. Angelica contemplated the phrase.
It could be a code name, or a hidden ingredient used in these incidents. We should try to find out what it represents.
They continued to sift through the notes, and gradually, a series of recipes came to light. These recipes were unconventional, containing unusual combinations of ingredients that seemed unrelated to traditional Spanish cuisine. It was as if Morales had been experimenting with something entirely new and secret. Sophia pointed at one of the recipes.
Look at this, Angelica. It's a dessert recipe, but it includes an ingredient called elixir of midnight. I've never heard of such a thing in the culinary world.
Angelica's eyes widened with realization.
Elixir of midnight, the crimson spice, these must be the hidden ingredients used in the acts of sabotage. But what are they, and where can we find them?
As Angelica Boyle and Sophia Diaz delved deeper into the cryptic notes and recipes left behind by Chef Ramon Morales, their investigation into the restaurant's sabotage scandal and Morales' mysterious death had intensified. They had deciphered key clues, including the enigmatic phrases "the crimson spice" and "elixir of midnight," and had begun to piece together the puzzle. As the evening went on, while engrossed in their research, both Angelica and Sophia received an unexpected message on their phones. It was a text from the organizers of the Taste of Javea competition. Sophia read the message aloud, her voice tinged with surprise.
It says, even in the light of the current unforeseen circumstances, the competition's final day will proceed tomorrow as scheduled.
Angelica glanced at her own phone, which displayed the same message. Her brow furrowed in concern.
Tomorrow? We need more time to uncover the truth and ensure justice is served.
Sophia nodded in agreement.
It seems like someone is trying to rush things through. Could this be related to the sabotage and Chef Morales' death?
Angelica's thoughts raced. The sudden announcement of the final day's resumption could mean many things, and they couldn't rule out the possibility that it was connected to their investigation.
We can't let this deter us,
Angelica declared with determination.
We need to work even faster to unravel the remaining mysteries and expose the culprits.
Sophia's eyes sparkled with resolve.
You're right, Angelica. We've come this far, and we can't back down now. Let's continue decoding the notes and recipes. The answers we need must be in there somewhere.
Act 4, The Culprit Revealed. The Taste of Javea competition's final day had arrived, casting a shadow of urgency over Angelica Boyle and Sophia Diaz's quest to uncover the truth behind the restaurant's sabotage scandal and Chef Ramon Morales' mysterious death. They had deciphered the cryptic notes and recipes, revealing the enigmatic phrases "the crimson spice" and "elixir of midnight" as key components of the acts of sabotage. As they prepared to confront the real culprits responsible for the chaos that had plagued Javea's culinary community, Angelica and Sophia knew that the final round of the competition held the answers they sought. The tension in the air was palpable as the top chefs of the town gathered for the ultimate culinary showdown. The final round was set to be a showcase of culinary creativity, with each chef tasked with creating an innovative dish that represented the essence of Javea's vibrant food culture. Angelica and Sophia had both qualified for the final round, but they had a more significant mission than winning the competition. They were determined to expose the saboteurs and bring them to justice. As the final round began, Angelica and Sophia meticulously prepared their dishes, keeping a watchful eye on their fellow competitors. Suspicion hung in the air as they wondered who among the chefs might be involved in the acts of sabotage. As the competition progressed, Angelica and Sophia's investigation led them to a crucial discovery. They realized that the mysterious ingredients mentioned in Chef Morales' notes, the crimson spice and elixir of midnight, were not just random terms but actual components of a unique recipe he had created. Angelica whispered to Sophia,
It all makes sense now. These ingredients were part of Chef Morales' signature dish, a dish that held a secret related to the restaurant sabotage.
Sophia nodded in agreement.
If we can find that dish and compare it to the notes, we might finally have the proof we need.
Their opportunity came when they discovered that one of the chefs in the competition, Eduardo Fernandez himself, was preparing a dish suspiciously similar to Chef Morales' signature creation. The dish included both the crimson spice and elixir of midnight. As the final round reached its climax, Angelica and Sophia had a choice to make. They could expose Eduardo Fernandez as the saboteur, risking his reputation and freedom, or they could wait for more conclusive evidence. With their hearts pounding and their determination unwavering, Angelica and Sophia knew that the time for the truth to be revealed was imminent. The culinary world of Javea held its breath as the climactic showdown unfolded, and justice hung in the balance. Angelica Boyle and Sophia Diaz stood at a pivotal moment in the Taste of Javea competition. The final round had reached its climax, and the dish prepared by Eduardo Fernandez, which contained the crimson spice and elixir of midnight, seemed to hold the key to unraveling the mysteries of restaurant sabotage and Chef Ramon Morales' murder. With their hearts racing, Angelica and Sophia decided to confront Eduardo Fernandez. They approached him with determination, ready to expose the motives behind Chef Morales' murder and unveil the dramatic revelation that lay hidden beneath the layers of culinary secrets. As they approached Eduardo's workstation, he glanced up, a hint of surprise and unease in his eyes. Angelica spoke first, her voice steady but resolute.
Eduardo, we know about the sabotage, and we know about Chef Morales' investigation.
Sophia added.
And we also know that you have been using his signature dish, the one with the crimson spice and the elixir of midnight. But we want to know why.
Eduardo's face paled, and he stammered.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've been creating my own dishes for this competition.
Angelica raised an eyebrow.
That's not entirely true, Eduardo. We've done our research, and we've seen your notes. You recreated Chef Morales' dish, and we believe you did it to cover up your involvement in the acts of sabotage.
Sophia continued.
Chef Morales was getting closer to the truth, and you couldn't let that happen. You needed to divert suspicion away from yourself.
Eduardo's facade of composure began to crack. He glanced around nervously, realizing that he was backed into a corner.
Fine, you're right. But I had to do it to protect my family's restaurant. The competition was fierce, and I couldn't afford to lose.
Angelica's eyes softened with empathy, but her determination remained unyielding.
Eduardo, we understand the pressure, but resorting to sabotage and murder is not the solution. You took away a talented chef's life, and you tarnished the reputation of our culinary community.
Sophia added.
But we also know that you weren't acting alone. Who else was involved in the sabotage?
Eduardo hesitated for a moment, then reluctantly revealed.
It was my sister, Carmen. She believed that Juan Carlos had stolen our family's recipe and used it to succeed. She wanted to ruin his reputation and secure our restaurant's dominance.
As the dramatic revelation unfolded during the final round of the Taste of Javea competition, the culinary community of Javea held its collective breath. Eduardo believed he was just talking to two women who were prying into his business. Angelica had grabbed a microphone and the conversation was being relayed over the loudspeakers in the street. Amidst the chaos and shock, Detective Harvey Jones, who had been closely monitoring the situation, swiftly moved into action. He had been gathering evidence and waiting for the opportune moment to apprehend the culprits and ensure that justice was served. Angelica had tipped him off that she believed she had uncovered the truth. He was in close attendance, ready to pounce should the need arise. Eduardo and Carmen, realizing that their secrets were no longer safe, attempted to make a hasty exit from the competition venue. They had underestimated the determination and resourcefulness of those seeking the truth. Just as Eduardo was about to escape through a side door, Detective Harvey Jones appeared, blocking his path.
Not so fast, Eduardo.
Harvey said with authority.
You have a lot to answer for.
Eduardo and Carmen stared at Harvey, his expression stern and unwavering. Panic and desperation flashed in their eyes as they realized that their escape plan had been thwarted.
Is this how it ends, Eduardo?
Carmen exclaimed, her voice trembling with fear and regret. Eduardo hung his head, unable to meet Harvey's gaze.
I'm sorry, Carmen. You should have never let it come to this.
Detective Harvey Jones wasted no time in taking them into custody, ensuring that they faced the consequences of their actions. Justice was served, and the culinary community of Javea could finally begin to heal from the wounds inflicted by sabotage and rivalry. As Eduardo and Carmen Fernandez were led away, their reputations tarnished and their dreams shattered, the people of Javea looked on with a mixture of sadness and relief. The dark chapter that had overshadowed their vibrant culinary world was coming to a close. Angelica Boyle and Sofia Diaz, the unlikely sleuths and culinary competitors, had not only solved the mystery but had also helped restore the honor and integrity of Javea's culinary community. In the end, it was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of truth and justice. The flavors of Javea, once tainted by secrets and deception, could now shine brightly once more, guided by the principles of honor and integrity in the world of gastronomy. With the culprits behind the restaurant sabotage and Chef Ramon Morales' murder apprehended by Detective Harvey Jones, the Taste of Javea competition reached its conclusion. The culinary community of Javea, once shrouded in secrets and deception, now stood on the precipice of a new beginning. As the final round of the competition drew to a close, the focus shifted back to the art of cooking and the celebration of flavors. Angelica Boyle and Sofia Diaz, despite their roles as amateur sleuths, had not lost their culinary prowess. Angelica's dish, inspired by the vibrant culture of Javea, earned her accolades from the judges and her fellow competitors. The flavors she had created reflected the town's resilience and the unity that had emerged in the face of adversity. It was a testament to the enduring spirit of Javea's culinary world. The townspeople and visitors who had gathered to witness the competition watched in awe as the final dishes were presented. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation, but it was also tinged with a sense of closure. The dark secrets that had plagued the culinary community for so long had been laid bare, and justice had been served. As the judges deliberated and the winners were announced, a sense of unity and camaraderie permeated the event. The flavors of Javea, once tainted by deception, were now celebrated with renewed vigor and authenticity. The Taste of Javea competition had concluded not only with a culinary victor but also with the triumph of truth and integrity. The town's culinary secrets had been exposed, and a new chapter in Javea's gastronomic journey was ready to unfold. In the end, it was a story of resilience, redemption, and the enduring power of the culinary arts to bring people together. Angelica Boyle and Sofia Diaz had played a pivotal role in this journey, using their culinary talents and detective skills to restore honor to their beloved town.